Competitive energy.
Competitiveness.
All right, so you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him
Okay,
like that.
damn. All right, I didn't know what that meant.
Okay.
All right, okay.
Jay-Z is back in the headlines after his assault accuser was reportedly heard on tape saying he never touched her. Instead of quietly stepping away, he's now hitting back with a $20 million lawsuit, while claims swirl that his legal team pressured her to stay quiet. What looked finished is suddenly wide open again. People thought the drama ended when the case fell apart. Then a leaked recording flipped everything. In it, the woman allegedly tells investigators he was present, but he didn't do anything. Now her own lawyer is under fire, accused of pushing a false story. But Jay-Z's camp isn't easing up. They're doubling down and raising the stakes fast. And it gets louder. 50 Cent jumped in, posting an AI-generated clip of Jay-Z in handcuffs with the caption, "I want to post this, but I'm afraid I'm going to get shot before deleting it." Too late. It spread everywhere in minutes. The lawsuit is demanding $20 million. Business deals are under pressure. Beyoncé's team is reportedly cleaning up press mentions. Meanwhile, attorney Tony Busby called the claims a blatant lie, while Jay-Z's lawyer insists the tape speaks for itself. This fight just leveled up. So here's the real question. If a billionaire says he's innocent, why does it look like more energy is going into shutting people up instead of simply clearing his name? Because maybe the tape isn't the real storm. Maybe it's what's coming next. 50 Cent isn't just clowning online. Word is he's stacking clips for a documentary his team plans to drop before Diddy's trial. And behind the scenes, there are claims that Jay-Z's lawyers have floated 8-figure settlement offers to shut the whole thing down. That's heavy pressure.
Don't trust nobody. In Hollywood, specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
When the recording of Jane Doe allegedly saying Jay-Z never touched her surfaced, most people thought his team would let it die quietly. Instead, they came out swinging with a $20 million defamation lawsuit against her and her attorney, Tony Busby, who also represents multiple women in Diddy's ongoing legal fight. That move raised eyebrows fast. The lawsuit, filed in late December, claims the allegations cost Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, contracts worth $20 million a year. That number is exact. Almost too exact. It feels less like emotion and more like strategy. But here's the twist people can't ignore. If the case was false, why did Jane Doe first stand firm in a sworn declaration, then suddenly withdraw it with prejudice, meaning she can never file again? Her explanation was fear. Fear of backlash. Fear of pressure. Instead of calming the noise, that detail made it louder than ever. Now the whispers are getting louder. Some insiders are saying the real target was never Jane Doe, it was Tony Busby. The lawyer accused of pushing her to name Jay-Z isn't just some random attorney chasing headlines. He's the same lawyer who secured a settlement for Cassie Ventura in her abuse case against Diddy. And right now, he represents at least 3 other women expected to testify in Diddy's upcoming trial. That connection has people talking.
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding, right?
Sources close to the industry claim Jay-Z's lawsuit may not be about clearing his name at all. They believe it's about weakening Busby's credibility before the May trial even begins. In that courtroom, witnesses are expected to speak about parties, harsh treatment, and a culture of silence that allegedly surrounded some of hip-hop's most powerful figures. That timing feels strategic. And this is where things start to twist. If Jay-Z was never at those events, why does his name appear in related lawsuits? Why respond so aggressively to a case that was already collapsing? And why did his attorney, Alex Spiro, tell ABC News the tape speaks for itself, while also filing suit against the woman connected to it? That contradiction raised eyebrows fast. Then on December 10th, while the lawsuit still dominated headlines, 50 Cent dropped an AI-generated Instagram video showing Jay-Z in a tux at a party, suddenly handcuffed and led away. The internet exploded instantly. The caption read, "I want to post this, but I'm afraid I'm going to get shot," followed by a laughing emoji. 50 Cent deleted it within hours, but the damage was done. The clip had already exploded across Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube, pulling in millions of views in no time. That's when Jay-Z's team reportedly made their first move, phone calls to 50's camp demanding he stop immediately. But 50 didn't fall back. He turned it up. Days later, he posted a distorted image of Jay-Z as a camel with the caption, "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not gonna post it." Then he posted it anyway. The signal was loud and clear. This wasn't jokes anymore. This felt like open conflict.
They don't want
if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand. That's why a lot of those rappers...
And here's why people are locked in. 50 Cent isn't just some online critic throwing shade. He has a history of flipping rap feuds into business moves and media power plays. Now he's teasing a documentary he claims will expose not just Jay-Z, but an entire system that shields powerful men. That's a serious claim. Sources say the project is already deep in post-production, digging into the dropped lawsuit and Jay-Z's past ties to Diddy, whose own legal issues have pulled public figures like Beyonce and LeBron James into headlines. But here's the real tension. If there's no solid proof behind this documentary, why are there reports of 8-figure offers to stop it before release? That's not how someone reacts to an empty threat. That's how you respond when you see something as a real threat. The quiet around this part feels louder than any public statement. While Jay-Z's attorneys reportedly rushed out cease and desist letters, 50 Cent has been moving low-key, collecting footage, lining up interviews, stacking what insiders call receipts that go way beyond the original allegation. People who claim they've seen early cuts say it connects Jay-Z not just to the dropped case, but to a wider culture of protection tied to Diddy's circle. That's a bold angle. And then there's the business side. Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, has controlled the NFL Super Bowl halftime show deal since 2019, a partnership worth hundreds of millions. That contract is up for renewal next year.
Interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence.
But after 50 publicly asked, are we still having the Super Bowl? In a now deleted post, insiders say league executives are watching closely. Because if this documentary drops before the big game, and if it delivers even part of what's being teased, the NFL, an organization that has worked hard to avoid controversy, could start viewing Jay-Z's brand as risky instead of reliable. That's real pressure. And let's be honest, 50 Cent isn't just a random voice online, he's known for turning rap drama into serious business plays. Now he's promising a film that he says will expose not only Jay-Z, but a larger system that shields powerful figures. That's not small talk. Sources say the project is already in post-production, digging into the dropped lawsuit and Jay-Z's past connections to Diddy, whose own legal issues have pulled names like Beyonce and LeBron James into public conversation. And that's where the tension keeps building. If 50 Cent doesn't have solid proof, then why are there reports that Jay-Z's team floated 8-figure offers to stop the documentary before it even drops? That's not how you brush off a bluff. That's how you respond when you see real danger ahead. But the real heat isn't about the Super Bowl deal. It's about what happens when you start pulling at threads that connect powerful names. The second Jay-Z's lawyers began firing off legal threats, 50 didn't retreat. He went louder. He started posting old photos of Jay-Z and Diddy side by side, adding captions like "friends till the end" and "Jay, you still there?" That's not random shade, that's a message. Here's the question nobody wants to touch. If Jay-Z had no involvement in Diddy's alleged misconduct, why does every move feel defensive? The recording was supposed to close the chapter, the lawsuit was meant to slam the door, but the way 50 is moving, it looks like neither was ever designed to end the story. It feels bigger than that.
A lot of people, 50, I feel like you don't have to say nothing, but 50's crazy. He's been like this his whole life. When he's on the block, oh shit, 50's coming.
Then came another twist. In early February, newly unsealed documents tied to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation mentioned Jay-Z's name in relation to a 1996 tip involving Harvey Weinstein. No charges, no confirmation, just a name and paperwork. Most media outlets treated it as background noise. 50 didn't ignore it. Within hours, he posted that his documentary would now examine Jay-Z's so-called missing years in the late 90s, when he was rising fast but still under the radar outside New York. That timing raised eyebrows instantly. It's not just about what happened. It's about what he saw, who he knew, and what he's allegedly spent the last 2 decades making sure never comes out. That's the tension sitting under all of this right now. The issue isn't one accusation, it's the pattern. First, the assault case that collapsed but refused to disappear. Then the AI meme that was supposed to be a joke but turned into a headline. Now the unsealed files connected to Jeffrey Epstein, a document most outlets brush past, except for 50 Cent, who suddenly seems locked in on Jay-Z's history. That's not random curiosity, that's focus. And then come the whispers about Beyonce. Insiders claim she's been monitoring updates closely, not out of panic, but because she wants to know whether her name could surface during Diddy's trial. If that happens, the polished image of the Carters as untouchable royalty doesn't just crack, it shakes hard. That's why Jay-Z's team appears to be moving differently now. This isn't about one lawsuit, it's not about one meme or even one documentary. For the first time in decades, the man known for shaping his own narrative isn't steering the story anymore. And that shift feels major. Then people bring up the 2014 elevator incident. At the Met Gala, Solange Knowles confronted Jay-Z in a moment caught on surveillance video. The public statement called it a private family matter, but rumors have always swirled that it went deeper than headlines suggested. Now, with old controversies resurfacing and 50 digging into past connections, talk of a possible tell-all tied to those overlapping industry circles is heating up again. Whether it's rumor or reality, the spotlight is brighter than ever. Here's what's being whispered behind closed doors. Some claim Solange Knowles' silence wasn't just about protecting her sister. It was about an understanding. The talk is that Beyoncé encouraged her to stay quiet to shield the family's image, and that agreement had limits. If Beyoncé ever chose to step away, Solange would no longer feel bound to hold back. That rumor alone has people locked in. Now, with Jay-Z's name tied to lawsuits, viral AI memes, and a documentary teased by 50 Cent that could drop at any moment, insiders say Beyoncé is thinking carefully about every move. This isn't only about her husband's public image, it's about her legacy too. She built a brand on precision and control. The last thing she would want is to be blindsided by someone close to her deciding it's time to speak. Then there's the business side. Jay-Z's fortune is often estimated around $2.5 billion, built from music, investments, beverage ventures, and partnerships like the one with the NFL. But the real power isn't just the money, it's perception. Roc Nation markets Jay-Z as the blueprint for success, the self-made mogul who rose above the industry. So what happens if that image takes a hit? Sources claim the NFL is quietly reviewing backup options in case the upcoming documentary creates controversy they can't ignore. If public pressure builds, brands move fast. That's business. And that explains the aggressive moves happening behind the scenes. Legal warnings, reported settlement talks, and strong pushback against projects seen as damaging. Whether it's strategy or self-defense, one thing is clear. The stakes have never felt higher. None of this feels like it's about justice anymore. It feels like buying time, stretching the clock, hoping the noise fades out. But here's the issue. The noise isn't fading. It's getting louder. Because 50 Cent isn't only calling out Jay-Z, he's questioning the entire power structure that critics say has shielded major figures for years. That's why the renewed talk around the Jeffrey Epstein files matters again. Jay-Z's name appearing in those old documents might have stayed a minor footnote. No charges, no formal accusations tied to it, just a mention connected to a 1996 tip involving Harvey Weinstein. Most outlets moved on fast, but 50 didn't. He reportedly started asking why someone early in his career would even be near that kind of situation. That question alone sparked debate. According to people claiming they've seen early documentary footage, the angle isn't that Jay-Z committed anything. It's about proximity, about who was in which rooms. In elite circles, being present can raise eyebrows, even if it proves nothing by itself. And that type of narrative doesn't disappear just because a lawsuit is filed or a meme gets deleted. Then the conversation shifts to Beyoncé. If Solange Knowles ever chose to speak publicly about old tensions, the spotlight wouldn't just land on Jay-Z. It would raise questions about how the Carter brand handled past controversies. That's sensitive territory. The Lemonade era framed personal struggle as strength and transformation. But critics now wonder what happens when scrutiny moves beyond personal drama into industry politics. Sources claim 50's project looks beyond one person and examines the broader empire, the partnerships, the silence, the carefully managed headlines. Whether that framing is fair or exaggerated, it explains why legal teams are reacting strongly. You can challenge allegations in court. You can dispute online commentary, but you can't fully control how public perception shifts once the conversation expands. The other layer here is timing, and timing is everything. Diddy's trial is set to begin in May. The Super Bowl hits in February, and 50 Cent's documentary, that could land any moment between now and then. That's not random scheduling. That feels like a countdown. If the film drops before the Super Bowl, the NFL faces pressure to respond fast. If it lands before Diddy's trial, prosecutors could find themselves dealing with a media storm that shapes public opinion early. And if it drops after, then it hits a news cycle already charged with headlines tied to Diddy's world. Either way, the timing creates impact. Jay-Z's camp knows that. That's why the legal pushback reportedly isn't aimed at just one person. It sends a wider message to anyone thinking about stepping forward publicly. The signal feels clear: speak up and expect a fight. But here's what makes this complicated. 50 Cent built a career on setbacks and comebacks. He's known for turning pressure into promotion and conflict into long-term moves. This doesn't look like random noise. It looks strategic. And then there's the bigger conversation nobody wants to say outright. This isn't only about Jay-Z versus 50 Cent. It's about control. Who shapes hip-hop's history and who decides what stays buried? For years, critics have argued that influence equals protection. If you're powerful enough, you're shielded. But what happens when that shield cracks? We've already seen major figures like Harvey Weinstein convicted and serving time. Diddy is facing serious legal trouble. Now, Jay-Z's name is surfacing in intense debates. The difference is Jay-Z has long been viewed as calculated and disciplined, turning controversy into momentum. But this time, the challenge isn't a rival artist or industry feud. It's public perception shifting in real time, and that's much harder to control. This isn't just some random clash. It's a showdown between Jay-Z and a man who built a media machine off exposing industry secrets, 50 Cent. While Jay-Z spent years carefully shaping his image, 50 built his brand on digging into what others try to hide. That's why the real fight may not be in a courtroom. It's reportedly happening in an editing room where a documentary is being polished that could challenge the story around one of music's most powerful couples. Then there's the silence. Beyoncé hasn't said a word. Solange Knowles hasn't either. But that quiet isn't empty. It feels calculated. Right now, the loudest voices are the ones with the least to lose. And that contrast says a lot. The lawsuits, the memes, the rumors about footage, those might be headlines, but the deeper story is perception. If Beyoncé ever decided that protecting her own legacy required distance, that shift alone would change everything. Their partnership has always been bigger than music. It's a global brand built on unity and power. If that image cracks, the fallout wouldn't stay private. So here's the situation as it stands. A lawsuit that was dropped but won't disappear from conversation. A documentary that may or may not surface. Diddy's upcoming trial casting a long shadow. And a marriage that has weathered storms before, but never under this kind of public microscope. First came the recording, then the AI meme, then renewed chatter tied to old files connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Each moment stacked on the next like dominoes lining up fast. The question now isn't whether the narrative will shift. It's how far that shift could go. Legal teams can push back. Statements can be drafted, but once public perception starts moving, it's hard to steer it back into place. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Not now. Not when the man behind the camera, 50 Cent, has built his whole second act around exposing uncomfortable truths. Not when people who stayed quiet for years might finally feel bold enough to speak. And not when an industry that once protected its biggest stars is realizing the climate has shifted fast. So here's the landscape. A lawsuit that was dropped but refuses to fade from headlines. A documentary that may or may not be ready to hit the screen. Diddy's trial approaching in May, already casting a long shadow. And a marriage between Jay-Z and Beyoncé that has survived storms before, but never under this level of public pressure. First came the recording, then the AI meme, then renewed chatter connected to old files mentioning Jeffrey Epstein. Each moment stacked higher, building tension instead of closing chapters. And the big question now isn't whether more pieces could fall. It's how much impact each one might have if they do. Jay-Z's team can respond with lawsuits. They can push back with statements. They can try to settle disputes quietly. But public narratives don't always follow legal timelines. Once people start asking questions, those questions don't just disappear. And that's where things get personal. How much did Beyoncé truly know about the situations being debated online? What stories has Solange Knowles kept private all these years? Is 50 Cent's documentary a finished project, or is the anticipation itself creating pressure? And when Diddy's trial begins, will Jay-Z's name even come up in court, or is that speculation running ahead of facts? Right now, the only thing that's clear is this. Control over the story isn't as tight as it used to be. Or will Jay-Z's team somehow manage to lock it down one more time? One last save before the walls close in, because this doesn't feel like it ends with a quiet settlement or a deleted post. It feels bigger than that. It feels like somebody's empire takes a hit, and the only mystery is whose. So what's your take? Is Jay-Z really at risk of losing it all, or is he still 3 steps ahead playing chess while everyone else plays checkers? And if Beyoncé ever decided to walk away, does the whole structure fall apart, or was she the real foundation the entire time? Drop your theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. This story is far from finished. See you in the next one.